Happy Saturday. Today is Saturday. Oops, I'm ready to get to Saturday. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, September 16th, 2022. We here in Vegas are done with triple digit days, and it makes me so happy. We're going to discuss the week's topics. Some of them absolutely absurd, given some of the outrage I've heard from certain topics. The other stuff is going to be our normal prayer, Game of Thrones. We're going to talk the new Blade Runner series by Amazon. A couple of different things. Batman Day is tomorrow. Usually it originated in July, but we'll go over the history of that. What else we got going on here? That's basically today's going to be. I try to keep these Friday night or shows to an hour because I know you guys got a lot of stuff to do and a lot of choices to make. And we do our extended show and the overnight show where I just feel more comfortable with letting loose. And that's one more day added to the news. So let's go ahead and say hi. We see who's in the chat. Hey, Chappie, what's going on? All right, so we're still filling up. This thing's going on in delay. So let me start off with make sure I'm live, make sure people can hear me. Let's see. And I'm going to mute myself real quick so that I know what I'm doing. All right, cool. All right, what's going on, Chappie? What's going on? I hope I'm saying your name, Mwamba 85 DT. And yes, that was a very interesting Game of Thrones House of the Dragon episode 4. If you were familiar with the Targaryen history, you kind of had to see some of that stuff going and coming, the incest and everything else. That wasn't even bad implied incest. I mean, they've gone brother and sister for several generations, and it's kind of how they've gotten. Some of them like Magar and Ares have gone crazy because eventually inbreeding will affect you every other generation, if not all generations. That's also one of the reasons why childbirth was so hard with them is because of the inbreeding. So uncle and niece wouldn't have been bad. And obviously you saw, spoiler alerts, if you've been watching Game of Thrones all the way through, you know that there was a certain nephew and a certain aunt that kind of got it together. So, but yeah, it went full on light porn there for a second. So, but yeah, that was more setting the stage for what is going to happen this episode 5, which is the wedding of Valerian and Rhaenyra Targaryen. And if you've been watching Game of Thrones for any amount of time, you know weddings are not the best place to be, and someone's getting their ass kicked and or maimed or killed. Can't guarantee all those are going to happen this episode, but judging from the previews, somebody's getting the hell beat out of them. So, like I said, not quite sure who makes it out alive, if there's any deaths at all. But once again, a Game of Thrones wedding, that's like a guaranteed brawl right there. So let's go ahead and let in Thade. What's going on, dude?
What's up?
What's going on? Okay. All right, I don't care. Disney remake needs to stop. Needs to stop by. Yeah, some of the All right, shouldn't John have white hair? I say yeah. The one of the reasons why all the Targaryens in the previous generations all had white hair is because they interbred. They didn't breed outside of the Targaryens that had those same characteristics. However, the other Targaryen kids, like I think Rhaegar's other kids that didn't make it, all had white hair. I don't know if Daenerys's I think Daenerys's mother was a Targaryen, so the fact that he is half Stark, I think, would might counter that out. I don't think it's a guarantee that that a Targaryen is going to have the dominant features of a Targaryen, other than the fact that they have the Valyrian blood. He can ride a dragon, so there are physical characteristics within that blood that that make him a Targaryen. But I don't know if that necessarily means because all the Starks have brown hair, and brown and black hair was dominant throughout all the Starks on both sides. So I mean, maybe it's a gene thing. So yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that it did, but they explained the fact that he was, he had the blood of the wolf in him that he did not. So Hey, what's going on, Shifty Gizm? How you doing? All right. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be the first topic I hit. Is gonna be this little Mermaid madness after I say hi to everybody. How you doing, Alaster 6531? All right, we're doing okay. Let's see, just making sure I give the proper. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into this because, like I said, this is a topic that kind of annoyed me. Um, for several different reasons. And every time you think we've made some progress with this society we live in, I'm reminded that there's still a couple of steps we need to take. All right, let's see, little maids. Don't want to bring up that. All right, so this is coming from the New York Times. Obviously, we know that there's been a new Little Mermaid. There's been a trailer release, and the world has spun off its axis. All right. At first, you see the swish of incandescent tail, blah, blah, blah. She glides through gracefully. She's black, says Candace Shanks, who turns 8 next week. So, a lot of the TikTok videos and stuff, I'm not going to play those on here because we'll get struck. There have been a lot of little black girls that have seen this for the very first time and are, they're overwhelmed by the fact that they have representation. I'm also seeing people who have an issue with a black Little Mermaid. Now, let's get past the obvious thing that it is a mythical character that is non-existent. And I think Neil Gaiman said it properly a few weeks ago. If you're okay with orcs and elves and wizards and everything, why should your disbelief be around any character at any given level of these fantasies could be black? Why should your disbelief be suspended there? Now, some of the reasons I'm hearing, listen, obviously we know there's racists out there. But we know that they're going to have an issue. And be honest with you, I don't even waste the oxygen on those guys simply because there's no content. There's no relevant conversation to be had with somebody who has an issue just based on that. The other people I do sort of see things. I don't agree with them, but the people who said, well, that's not the Little Mermaid that I grew up with, and I feel like they're attacking. I read an article where people say, well, hey, well, that's not my childhood Little Mermaid. That's not my childhood Ariel. Newsflash, you're not a child anymore. Okay. And I hear this all the time when it comes to characters like this. Whenever there's a reimagining or wherever they are redesigned to fit and capitalize on the new generation, that's not my so-and-so or they're messing with my childhood. Listen, if you grew up with the Little Mermaid and you went to see these movies, you bought the toys, nobody can take those memories from you. Those are your memories. Those are your memories with your family that you went to, the way you felt when you saw it on the air. There's nothing that can take that away. They could remake the Little Mermaid 10, 20 times. They can make it the Little Merman. It's not going to make a difference. Your childhood is intact. It's just like if they remake Blade Runner and recast Harrison Ford and Rutger Hauer. That's not going to affect the 1982 version that I've held dear for decades. Am I going to see it? Yeah, because I'm interested in seeing how it goes. But if it sucks and I don't like it, guess what? I got tons of Blade Runner media here from 1982 that will never be taken from me. So the fact that it seems like some of these guys and gals seem to think that modern society needs to tiptoe around eggshells to not harm their childhood, that's probably one of the more insane arguments I've heard of it. And then somebody brought up the scientific, well, she's in the northern, but I'm like, it's a mermaid. All right. Any science you try to bring to this argument, it's a mermaid. All right. Dragons don't exist. Wizards don't exist. Orcs don't exist. And if they do exist, guess what? They're probably not following the ethnic anthropology that we all are fighting. I mean, I've heard this with Lord of the Rings. I heard this with Game of Thrones. With Game of Thrones, it's even more ignorant because if you look at the map of Westeros and if you look at the entire map of what Game of Thrones is, you'll see that some of these characters and some of their groups come from far, far east in places. If you juxtapose the map like you do the UK for Westeros, you see that that's places like Morocco and Southwest Asia, where they're not white people. So you might see one of us pop up in one of these shows, and it may be geographically correct. But guess what? If it's not geographically correct, so what are you comparing it to? Go find me a mermaid that doesn't look like the mermaid that is that is being depicted in this new show. Now, as far as people being, oh, well, they should stop with the live action remakes, why? I understand where you're coming from your point of view, but once again, they're not marketing this towards you. They've gotten what they were going to get from you. They gave you your animated Little Mermaid. They gave you your Pinocchio, even though the new Pinocchio is kind of creepy. They gave that to you. You grew up with it, and we all had it. Now we have a new generation that they have to, market things for. It is a business. So, but even if they make these things and they crash and burn, you still have no one's taking your childhood away from you. All right, just like Red Dawn, they remade Red Dawn and it was horrific. I hated that movie. But guess what? I still have 1984 Red Dawn. I have it on VHS even. I can watch it anytime I want to. They can remake it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They can do whatever they want to. Any modern interpretation of Red Dawn or anything else that I've seen. I'm always going to have the one I grew up with. Nobody's going to take that away from me. And I see these people, and it's not just with Little Mermaid and everything. It's with any IP that has multi-generational status. One generation thinks that they have a clamp death grip on it and that it can't be reimagined any other way. The Crow. To me, The Crow is sacred ground. It's Brandon Lee's last movie. It's the movie he died making. It's a character that I knew well before the movies even came out. But they're destined to make The Crow. I'll go see it because it interests me. If it sucks, you think does Brandon Lee's Crow disappear from my mind? No.
It just reinforces it even more.
Exactly. If they make something that's bad, that reinforces the thing that you saw. If Little Mermaid's no good, then you don't have anything to worry about. But guess what? If it's good, you still don't have anything to worry about. But
the thing about it is, the way I see it is this. Look, if you think that something brand new ruins your childhood, then you're the one being weak. Like William said, it's a business. They have to appeal to new audiences. Things are going to change. If you live long enough on this planet, you're going to see things cycle. Okay? Whether you accept it or not really doesn't matter. It is what it is.
Yeah, and this is another thing, and I don't know how many people have read the actual story is, it doesn't have a happy ending at all. And it's nothing like the cartoon that they adapted with. And I'm like, what is wrong with people?
Now, the original story ends with her turning into sea foam.
Yeah, and it's like, there's so many different interpretations you can take that with. But like I said, I mean, it's like the racists, I'm not even, listen, there are going to be people who have a problem with anything that doesn't look like them, is not represented by exactly how they look, live, or love. That's just going to be a problem. We're not going to defeat that here in the little hour that I have here. That is going to take generations to go away with. I'm completely dismissing those people. The people I love
the guy who turned her skin white using Photoshop or whatever he used, an AI program, I think it was. And then he says, well, when it drops, he's going to take it off of Disney and re-release it, make it right. And I'm like, yeah, have fun getting sued by Disney.
Yeah, and what is right? You know what I mean? Yeah, that is my little Roku screen back there. I usually have stuff playing throughout, or like I said, I'll have my stuff playing. So I'll have our old shows playing, through there. Sometimes I'll catch up on some TV. When I'm here late, like I'm going to be real late night, I'm going to have the Dodgers because I got Apple TV up there. So yeah, I have Roku. I love Roku. It just makes it easier to interact with everything, and I can watch YouTube from there. I can watch HBO Max from there. Eventually, when I get the permanent studio set up, and I know I've been saying that for ages, but when I get that set up, one of these TVs is going to be behind me so that I can bring up things, and that's probably going to be one that looks like this. It won't have Roku. It'll just have like the logo and stuff that you guys see when you're waiting for me to come in, and then I'll have that my stream deck thing, and I'll be able to push it so that it shows up behind me with just a push of a button. But yeah, I love Roku, and that Roku cool. I wish I could show it to you. It has all kinds of goofy stuff. It has the UFOs, monsters, dinosaurs. So I love Roku. Yeah. So I was just like, come on. I mean, now where people have, and somebody tried to bring up, oh, why don't we just make the Black Panther white? Here's the thing with the Black Panther. The Black Panther takes place literally on the continent of Africa. All right. In the heart of Africa, where 100% of the natives there are black. So not only would you're not just reimagining the character, you're reimagining the entire circumstances that their character comes from. Being African and being Wakanda is literally a part of the characters that are in there. Now, here's where it does apply, though. Commissioner Jim Gordon, when they did the Batman, having Jeffrey Wright play a character that is been depicted as white for a long time, or when it comes to Perry White and Superman. Now, does the ethnicity of that character play a major part in that character's persona and what that character is? In the Batman, it does not. It's not a story about a racist, corrupt thing or a black cop coming up through the ranks. And even though he is, that's not the basis of the story. And neither is Jim Gordon being white. So neither ethnicity plays so much a part in that character's development and where he means in the story, to the point where you couldn't switch them. And same thing with Perry White. The story is not about a black chief editor being in Superman, and not any more than it is a white guy being. So those are different situations. But when you're talking about a ethnic group, story about an ethnic group in an ethnic geographical setting, that's and which is a real. Africa is a real continent, even though Wakanda is not. Africa is real. Unless you're in Southern Africa, or unless you're in South Africa, Northern Africa, anything in the middle is predominantly looking like me. Now, when we try to do these things to fantasy, it's hit or miss, because, like I explained before, Horus Valerian, that's in the House of Valerian, that's in House of the Dragon. Anything across the narrow sea, you don't know where that's coming from. And like I said, if you look at that map, we're not that far away. The Dothraki occupied that entire central section, which would have been Asia, Central Asia. And they don't look like
Mongolian.
Mongolian. So at least with Game of Thrones, they're somewhat, your excuse is even less there. But when it's talking a complete fictional character, that's like catching me. Hey, why is that centaur Hispanic? What? It's a centaur. Why are we even asking this question? And heaven forbid somebody who doesn't look like the cartoon gets represented. So what? It's a mermaid. Now, when somebody brought it up to me, well, that was hypocritical to me, because when I didn't want a black Superman, and the reason I didn't want one, because what was being proposed, A, was a period piece, and B, now, you're talking about making Superman. We in America, and you're using a real American backdrop, a real country that has real issues, and you're not going to hide those issues. You need more. And Ta-Nehisi Coates had no plan of hiding those issues in the comic. So the Superman that we've known has never had to go through the issues that a period piece black Superman would. You're changing the character altogether. Now, that I can understand, not even the outrage. I don't mind there being a black Kryptonian and a black Superman, but if you're going to change that character's path, it's an entirely different character from a white guy from Kansas that can blend in with society from 1938 till now than a black guy from wherever he was going to say he was, blending in anywhere during that same time period. Go ahead and Google it. There were some things going on. So different story altogether. You can't apply it blanket wise. But when it comes to something that doesn't exist, like I said, you bring me a real live mermaid or a real live wizard or a real live dragon rider, you bring them up to the center and tell me, okay, this is the basis of my argument. I'm all for it. But if we got bigger issues if you can find me a mermaid. If you come up to the Sci-Fi Center with a mermaid, trust me, I'm probably going to lose my train of thought anyway, and we won't be talking about the Little Mermaid.
First of all, she's going to die. She's out of the water, man. That's not cool. Not only is she out of the water, but she's in the desert. Hello.
Yeah. So it's
second of all, if they're bringing us a dragon, well, good luck.
Yeah, we got bigger problems. I think there's going to be a bigger problem. Shifty Gibson says the people that were crapping on the trailer are now getting heat for making fun of Kiki Palmer, saying she wants to be Rogue in the MCU. She'd actually be great. And here's once again. Now, as long as she gets the Southern accent right, I mean, you're going to have to, I don't know. It depends on, okay, if it's Kiki Palmer and some actress that's not as good as Kiki Palmer, sometimes directors go get the best actor that they think fits their movie. That's sometimes what happens. Sometimes they might be auditioning a white guy and a black guy. And in the case of Commissioner Gordon, they decided that he fit their movie and he was a better actor amongst people that were, once again, we have a comic character in Rogue that, that has a history of being white, but no cultural history. I mean, she can still be from the South. She can still have her Southern accent. She can still have all her same powers. I'm not saying that that's the way to go, but if the director has his socks are blown off by her, I have to have her in this movie. And there's nothing that, you know, he has that freedom to do that, then go ahead. It's the same thing with the Kingpin when they had Michael Duncan Clark playing the Kingpin. That movie sucked, which is Daredevil. That movie sucked for a whole bunch of reasons. He wasn't one of them. So
Yeah, he's actually probably the best part of that movie.
Yeah, it's I don't think there. I think you have to take it from a case by case basis, but at the same time, there are some broad stroke people out there that are, and you hear that word again, woke. To me, woke is the Neanderthal catch all is what I call it, because it aggravates me anytime somebody else is represented for the first time on in a level like that. Then I start hearing that most of these people who made this all this noise, the majority of them are never going to see the movie. It's a news story that they're catching on to, and they can just throw into their bag of tricks. The people who are the childhood people are like, oh, this is not the one I grew up with. Once again, no one's taking Ariel away from you. Your Ariel is always going to be there. They ain't going to stop making toys. Did they stop making Aladdin toys and re-releasing Aladdin when Will Smith was your genie? No. And those people who thought they were going to have an issue with that, and that movie made like $1 billion. But you know what? If you didn't like Will Smith's Aladdin, you still got that cartoon. It will always be with you. They could remake E.T. tomorrow. You know, if they do it in Pooh, Blood, and Honey style, but that's another stream. They could make E.T. They can remake E.T. tomorrow. I grew up with E.T. The last movie I cried at when I thought E.T. was dying. Spoiler alert, it's been 40 years. But somebody wants to remake it. John Carpenter says, you know what, I want to remake E.T. Somebody wants to remake it and do something different on it. Is that going to take away from the family day I had with my family when I went to go see E.T. back in the early 80s? No. I mean, is that going to change that lousy, horrible Atari game that I couldn't wait for because those fraudulent commercials told me I was getting something cool on Christmas Day, and I get that E.T. video game from Atari? You guys suck. No, that's not going to change any of that.
Do you remember them? Do you remember them finding the landfill full of those games?
Yeah, and I wish I could have tossed mine in there for history's sake. That game sucked, dude.
Yeah, it did. It was horrible.
Oh my goodness! Has anyone read the actual Little Mermaid? Oh yeah, she's already. Yeah, it's not good. It's
yeah. The
like Peter Pan. Peter Pan is an asshole, but look how he's portrayed.
You know, the thing I'd like to see is if they did ever remake E.T., I'd like to see the original idea behind it, which was supposed to be a horror movie called Dark Skies.
Oh, I saw what that became. Let Ridley Scott do it. All right, Chappie. Yeah. The thing that infuriates me a lot is like the people who really hate the Disney live action remakes and don't watch it or just boycott it if that ruins your childhood. Like I said, I mean, if you don't listen, there's going to be interpretations of things that I love that I'm just not going to watch. Star Trek. There's a lot of Star Trek that I don't watch. But every doorway into the thing I like gives me a comrade. I can't stand Lower Decks. I think it's stupid. But guess what? That person that's watching Lower Decks is a Trek fan. Eventually, we're all going to sit down.
I like it.
You know, and the people who are watching these remakes, if you're watching an Aladdin remake and you're watching and you don't connect with the cartoon because that's before your time, you were born in the 2000s maybe, but guess what? Immediately that person who's going to see this live action whatever, and you, the person who's seen the cartoon whatever, you have something in common immediately. As soon as you both see that, you may have something in common with different versions of that same thing, but it's still a conversation starter. And guess what? Maybe you'll be the one that shows that person the animated stuff and shows them the value of the animated stuff. But nothing's going to happen to your childhood. I hear that, and I just want to tear my head off because it's like the same thing with Superman. I grew up, the very first Superman I saw on the big screen was Christopher Reeves. But I'm a grown-ass man. My 6-year-old self loved Christopher Reeves. My grown-ass man self was like, I need something better. I need something that fits where I am at in life now. But these other versions of Superman, I can't stand DC animated stuff. I think it's a complete waste of oxygen and air. But if you love DC animated stuff, I have a lot of friends that grew up and their first introduction to these superhero characters was the Batman animated, Superman animated. But that's fine. But guess what? That makes them. That makes them a superhero DC fan, just like me. I may not have liked the door that they came in and have no regard for it, but we're here now. I can sit at the table across from that guy who we're both Superman fans. We're both Batman fans. Came in a different way, but we're all here. And that's what people need to look at when it comes to these Disney remakes. They're not for you. They're for an entirely different generation that is joining in that legacy. The Little Mermaid fans that grew up in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, or wherever it was released, and these new Little Mermaid fans that don't have that connection, now you've come together, is what I'm saying. I mean, don't make fandoms smaller with this dumb crap. Make them bigger. Star Trek is the Bible to how to ruin a franchise. And really, people think it's Star Wars. People think it's DC and Marvel. No, Star Trek had the blueprint of people just closing the door on people because a new version of something came out that they just couldn't take. Like a brand new way of doing Star Trek is not going to take away from William Shatner's Star Trek. All right, a brand new way of doing Star Trek is not going to take away from the next generation that people protested the existence of when it first came out. None of that's going to take. All it does is add. It's addition. You have more Star Trek fans. Are you guys going to agree on everything? No, but they're not destroying your childhood. The only person that can destroy someone's childhood is that child, is that grown man not looking back on it fondly. Nobody can destroy my childhood. Transformers, dude, some of the Transformers movies are absolutely dreadful. They suck. Does that change me in 1986 watching the cartoon version on the big screen? No. Does that change me getting up every Saturday or Sunday morning or coming home every day from school watching that cartoon? Nope. Does that change me playing with those die-cast toys that were so heavy that you could only transform them 2 or 3 times before they just started going limp? Does that take away from that? No. No, nobody can take away anyone's childhood. Just because it's not what you grew up with, guess what happened? You grew up. That's part of growing up. So I don't understand it. Like I said, the people who are just outright racist, I can't change them. I'm not going to even try. I'm not even going to give them any more time on this show. But the other people who are like, well, that's not mine. So, okay, yeah, so I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm not taking your childhood in order to make this new Disney, whatever that they're doing, whatever it's in. I mean, like I said, dude, we keep bringing up Pooh, Blood, and Honey. There's a lot of people who Winnie the Pooh is part of their childhood, and you guys are in for a rude awakening because the people who made that movie do not give a fuck, right? All right. If Winnie the Pooh is part of your Disney childhood and you can't handle this Little Mermaid thing attacking your childhood, you literally have a bear and a pig walking around the forest with an axe, all right? And Christopher Robin getting his friend killed. But guess what? Is that going to change my, Winnie the Pooh childhood if there was one? If I download or watch the wrong thing, maybe, but no. Your childhood is as vivid as you allow it to be, man. I got cool childhood stuff that's been reimagined and redone and remade. Some for the better, some from the worst. But it's all there. And like I said, all I got to do is turn the TV off or switch over to another streaming service if any one of those sucks. And like I said, it's going to happen. Halloween. I hate the Halloween remakes. I love Rob Zombie, but I hate his Halloween movies. Does that take away from John Carpenter's great movie? Nope. I hate the new Friday the 13th movie. Does that take away from the Friday the 13th movies themselves kind of fell on themselves after 6, but does that take away from the first 3 or some of the greatest slasher horror movies of all time? No. They can keep remaking them. Put Jason in space with the leprechaun in the hood if you want to. It's not going to change. When I went to Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D and saw what at the time was the greatest 3D movie of all time. So no, right? That's my childhood. And
well, the way I see it, it doesn't change anything. Like, it just expands things even further, and it gives people more things to look at. If you don't like the new remakes, that's fine. You don't have to. You still got those original things to lean back on.
Hey, Ashley, how you doing? Nice.
What's up, Ashley?
Hey, hanging
hey,
out.
Caden.
Hanging out. We throw him out. If Caden's in here, throw him out. No, I'm just kidding.
You got a super chat.
Yeah, where is it? Scroll down. Wow, it's way down here. Hey, fourth 1,000. Thank you for your consistent support. I'm pretty sure I appreciate it, and so does Enosh. Never mind all the mermaid. Let's Constantine 2 is announced. So, hey, you know what? That wasn't on my topic for today, but you know what? And I was, if RJ, you're out there, me and RJ were going back and forth with this because he was wondering why they would bring this, instead of certain other things. My reason is that it's cheap. You look at the John Wick movies; it costs roughly around $75 million to make, and they pull in about 320 to 340 million. Now, when you're a business that's trying to, create profitable streams and revenue streams, and you just purchased a company that's heavily in debt, it may not be Avengers in-game money, but it's profit. Not only is it profit in the theaters, it's profit on resale markets, and it's profit on your streaming service. And here's the thing about these guys that, he said it's been 20 years since the last Constantine. MILF magnets do not know time. All right? MILF magnets, and I said it, MILF, M-I-L-F, MILF magnets and MILF, they don't care. Jason Momoa, if Jason Momoa remakes, give me something. Jason Momoa is recast as Mr. Rogers. Okay? Most of the generation...
They're going to go watch it.
Yeah, they have never, ever cared or known who Fred Rogers was. Jason Momoa is now playing Mr. Rogers. He's on The Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. He comes in, he changes his sweater, he changes his shoes, he talks to puppets. They ain't gonna care about that Fred Rogers has been dead for 6 or 7 years. They ain't gonna care about the 50 years that he was on public television and a lot of us kids grew up with him. They don't care. All right, he's a MILF magnet, and the MILFs are going to go see him, and guess who they're bringing with them? Their kids. All right. So yeah, it's been 20 years since Constantine, but dude, Keanu Reeves is money. I mean, John Wick had no business. John Wick is a cliche movie for a lot of people. Kill him up, shoot him up, violence. I mean, it's great, but it's nothing. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there for it. But Keanu Reeves, and then, like I said, now, if they don't go crazy with the budget, and that's something else I said in our chat, if they don't go crazy with the budget, this could be good. You can keep it under 100 million in the 75 million range and don't blow up your advertising budget. That's a profitable movie right out of the gate. So, yeah, I mean,
I personally liked Keanu's Constantine. I thought it was pretty good.
A lot of people did, but listen, nobody had need to even see that one, because guess what's going to happen? That Constantine, I think, is on HBO Max. So when the MILFs arrive at this new one, guess what they're going to do once they're done? Oh, he was in that movie? Need to race home, watch that. More viewership, more interconnectivity to your bridging your content that's coming out now to your library. And that's what they really need to do. And what they need to do going forward. Everything that Warner Brothers Discovery and DC does, whatever they release needs to augment the content that they have as much as they possibly can, especially if you got actors that are still acting. Momoa is still acting. Cavill is still acting. Keanu Reeves is still acting. All right. So you got these MILF magnets and you got their content on your streaming service. Subscribers, ad revenue, keep it going, man. So yeah, I think it's listen, I wasn't a huge fan of that movie because I'm a bigger fan of the Vertigo version of them, but I don't think we're ever going to reach that. But yeah, it's a good business decision. Now, would I rather them spend all this money on a Superman movie? Yeah, of course. But you know what? Quick profit, low risk, low yield. Yeah, let's do it. All right. Thank you, fourth 1,000. All right. Let me see. Did I miss anybody else? I got everybody. All right. So let's say Clinton here messing with me. Darth Vader and Aquaman approve of your message. Yes. Yes, the MILF magnet is right here. Jason Momoa. Hayden Christensen. I don't know. It depends on what MILF you are, I guess. But okay, William, I DM'd on Twitter regarding something. You guys know you Twitter is my weak point. Hold on, let me check here. I'm a Facebook, Instagram guy, so I've been screwing up on Twitter lately.
Not the tweeters.
Well, I miss stuff because I don't read the messages. Okay, sent to.
I just don't like Twitter.
Yeah, dude.
That's cool.
He sent me. Rational Skeptic sent me the picture where they whitened up the character.
Yeah, it's retarded.
Because what you're saying is you're implicating that something being represented in dark skin is wrong and that whitening it up is right. That's offensive to both ethnic groups, especially this generation and beyond. Listen, I did not live in the Black America that my dad and my grandfather did. I explained this last week on our overnight. I think our generation has gotten significantly better with this stuff, but we still have issues. But I think as we hold on to these things like this, we are insulting the newer generations. You're insulting the Generation Xers and below. The millennials, like, they drive me crazy. And the Generation Y, we are the generation that is loosening our grip on the hatred that our predecessors had. And you can see it around. If you bump into a 75 or 80-year-old person, let them, especially a black person, let them tell you how they might say, oh, this thing ain't changed. Yeah, they have changed. There's a lot of stuff that's changed for the better. It's not where it needs to be right now, but when we do these things that we're doing with the Little Mermaid and all that with the representation and the woke claims, we're insulting the current generations and beyond. All we're doing is we're holding on to old laundry from people who have had their heyday. All right, so I'm more optimistic about society, about how we're accepting and more tolerant of each other, people's different lifestyles, people who are willing to make the adjustments. So it's this other generation, that is and like I said, those are the races. But then we have the childhood people who have, like I said, you have a legitimate gripe, you have a legitimate opinion. And I'm not saying you're an idiot for I'm just trying to, as somebody who had a childhood just like you, nothing is going to take the stuff I love away from me. I don't agree with that argument that this is ruining people's childhood. Nothing is taking. It's not like I'm coming in through your window and taking all your pictures and wiping your brain clean of everything that you watched and you loved during your childhood. It's always going to be there. So that's the point there that I'm kind of like goofy on. All right. Thank you. Yes, please smash the like button. Thank you, Jared. Let's see. I still love the first Superman movie. It's really good. Only, it's dated. Yeah. And like I said, as the 6-year-old me, at Mann's Chinese Theater, which was one of the only two movies I ever saw in my life at Mann's China, now it's Grumman's Chinese. It was Superman 2, I saw at Mann's Chinese, and Empire Strikes Back. I got to see those movies in Hollywood. And growing up in LA, even if you grew up in LA, it was still a far drive, from where we were at. And to go down there and see those premieres that way was something special. Those are fun. Like I said, no matter how crappy a Star Wars movie may come along, it's never going to take away my Empire Strikes Back movie. Empire Strikes Back is still going to be my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. Guess what? They've made some bad Star Wars decisions over the last couple of years. My childhood is okay. We're going to do fine. We're going to be fine. Yeah. And he's still, and it's not fair. Once again, Keanu Reeves, if you're watching this, screw you. All right? Screw you for looking like that at 54. You're another one of those guys that are way older than me, looking good. Still drawing chicks.
Well, at least he's going gray. At least we have that. At least he's going gray.
Not gray enough. Not great enough. I'm tired.
Well, he's going distinguished.
All you guys.
Well, I hate to say it, William. I'm your same age, and I haven't gone gray yet.
All right, but stop. eat a bowl full of Crisco just straight up. Maybe not exercise every now and then. You don't have to go out and do the yoga and do the Pilates or whatever the hell you're doing. You don't have to sleep in the chamber that keeps you young. It's not fair. Keanu Reeves is 54 years old, still drawing the MILFs. Kurt Russell was another one. Kurt Russell is finally starting to age. So whatever
but he's aging gracefully.
That he paid off for the 40 years that he stayed the same age, he's finally starting to age. And he's mid-70s, man. Looking better than me. Screw you guys. All of you, if you're listening to the Plan Action right now, screw you for looking that good beyond 50. And
Keanu's actually 57, not 54.
Oh, he's been okay. That thanks a lot, asshole. So he's even worse. It's even worse than I thought. All right. I'm so sorry. I love the first 4 Transformers movie. Guilty. You know what? Hey, that's fine. That's fine. I thought after the first one they just kind of went off the rails, and then it just got a little bit crazy. And then Bumblebee brought it back a little bit, but it just became less of a Transformer franchise to me as they got further along on Dark of the Moon, and and then the Earth was going to turn into Unicron. I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? So it's a tough one. So all right, bringing Counter back. Okay, first of all, what are you, 12? If I ruined your childhood, okay. It's too late. Maybe you're one of the ones that won't recover, Caden. Jackass.
Oh, never mind. I've been corrected once again. Keanu is 58, not 57.
So this cat is pushing 60, and he's going to play a role just as effectively as he did 20 years ago.
Yep.
That's why they're doing it, because they can. Just pull out that MILF magnet and take that money right out of those pockets, boy. All right.
They're doing a magic trick. It's called make the MILF money disappear.
What they're doing. Rob Zombie's Halloween. Listen, I think Rob Zombie's one of the most talented abstract filmmakers ever. I have House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Reject. This guy is great. I just don't like his remake stuff. The most entertaining Halloween. Listen, and nobody's going to replace Donald Pleasance. And McDowell did. I think it was Roddy McDowell or was Malcolm McDowell. One of the McDowell brothers.
Malcolm.
Malcolm McDowell's a great actor. He's a top tier actor, one of the great British actors of all time. But Donald Pleasance in that role was lightning in a bottle. When you hear Donald Pleasance talking, when he's describing, I have that on one of my little looper things where he's describing he's not a man. You keep describing him as a man. He's hell on 2 feet. There's nothing behind that. When he's just describing him, you can't replace that low budget $12 movie that Mustafa Akkad and John Carpenter made. That was just made for nothing. It was low budget. You saw where they filmed it all around the same neighborhood. It's a William Shatner mask painted white, but that movie is legendary. And I don't know if you can catch that vibe again. But like I said, I love Rob Zombie stuff. I think he's a great visionary. I really like. What's up?
I knew what he was once, but I never knew why.
Oh no! What was it? I spent the first 6 years trying to reach him, and then the next 7 years trying to keep him locked up. Yeah, replace those. All right, so let's see.
I kind of liked McDowell's version of I've forgotten the character's name. Loomis. I kind of like McDowell's version of Loomis, but I think he was more, I don't know, kind of sleazy than Donald Pleasance was.
Wow, this motherfucker, dude, he turned 58 on my parents' anniversary. I was born on September 7th. He's literally 10 years. He's 10 years and 5 days older than me.
Hey, William. My dad would have been 95 on the 1st. So
he had you late then.
Yeah, I was born when he was in his late 40s. Yeah.
Okay.
And I will personally be 47 on Sunday.
Oh, another Virgo, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's Google Keanu Reeves. And this is I probably shouldn't do this.
It's just going to depress you, William. If into the security tapes you go, only sadness will you find there.
Look at this. This is not cool. You know, I may just stop the stream right now
and go get you a beer.
I don't even drink alcohol. I may. Let's see. They've got a couple of them. Male stars going shirtless. There's Justin Theroux, shirtless. Screw you, Justin. Who is this? This is Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom is 45 years old, looking like that. Screw you, Orlando Bloom. Jeff Bezos, I don't care. Pierce Brosnan. Okay, Pierce Brosnan is quite old.
Quite.
How old is Pierce Brosnan?
Let me look. Hold on.
Because he should not be looking like that. He's got to be pushing upper 60s. And I see abs there. I see
easy.
That's not okay. What is this? I mean, look at that. Adam Sandler.
Pierce Brosnan is 1 year off of 70.
Okay. That's 69?
Yeah.
Is that okay, everybody? Is that fair for me? No. All right, who else we got? All right, Sting is like 90. Colin Farrell. How old is Colin Farrell? They don't give their ages here. Hold on, do they?
No, hold on.
There's another one that shouldn't be looking like that. Neil Patrick Harris, I know, is going. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe's not human, so we're gonna go through.
Colin Farrell is 46.
Okay, so I'm okay with that. Here's another Pierce Brosnan one. 69 years old. Look at that. John Hamm
And
is
you
50.
say
I know that.
you say Rob Lowe isn't human?
Gavin Rosdale. It doesn't matter anymore. Rob Lowe again. I know Rob Lowe's in his 50s because he was.
58.
Oh, wow, that is not cool. There's another one. Look at this. This is not cool. This is not cool.
Nearly 70. Looks like that.
Oh my goodness. This is but where's the one I saw? This is like that just made me. Somebody put this on there the other day because I do think I saw a happy birthday Keanu Reeves. And I couldn't. I didn't remember. I didn't really think of how old he was. Let's see, because like I said, and this is when people say that Cavill can't play. Superman beyond a certain age. These are all right. So this is him. I mean, he ain't looking like Spartacus, but he's looking better than me, which is not okay. I need some of these guys to start looking their age. All right.
And by the way, to everybody in the chat that's talking about plastic surgery only goes so far as you age.
Yeah, you can't do
Just
that.
saying.
That's a 60-year-old man. That's a nearly 60-year-old man. No body fat. He still's got his abs. Look at the arms. Screw you, Keanu Reeves. Screw all you guys. Son of a bitch. So yeah, that's why you can justify making a Constantine. All right. So yeah, racism complaints are down to cartoon. Yeah, what's going on? What is going on? Not just cartoon characters, mythical beast, mythical beast cartoon characters. I'm like, what in the hell? When I saw my Twitter blow up, not my Twitter, but my mentions and messages, because I get tagged and stuff, and I'm like, okay, all right, the Queen's already dead. I mean, who's gone? Who's dead? What's going on? The little chirp is going off for outrage over casting of Little Mermaid. I'm like, what? We got wars in Europe. We got unrest everywhere else. We got inflation. We got gas prices. We got all kinds of stuff that you could be blowing that up for. And you're going to be blowing it over for a half fish, half woman that is non-existent. That does not exist on any ethnic level. Okay? All right? I had people complaining about what's his face's dragon from Game of Thrones. What's wrong with his neck? It's a dragon. You going to give me a real dragon to compare it to? It's not like a Ferrari. You can go to the dealer and be like, well, that's a Ferrari. Doesn't exist, all right? Stop getting so strung out over these mythical hobbits and characters, dragons and orcs and half animal winged griffins. They don't exist. They can be black, white, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese. It doesn't matter. They don't exist.
My Ursus should be green. Ursus should be green.
What is Golem? The hell is he supposed to be? I mean,
I'm a hobbitsus.
Hey, the jumper. Oops, let me bring up the jumper. All right, WBD continues to license their high-level IPs out. What's the probability of them licensing Justice League 2 and out to Netflix? It depends on if Netflix ever gets into that spending phase again. And even if they did it, they would probably, have to sign off on so many things. I mean, they would let Netflix make it, but there would be some strings attached. I don't think so. And the reason being is because those IPs are the key to the economic recovery of that company. Those universal IPs are going to be key to the stockholders. They're going to be key to the exposure of the division. They're the most valuable IPs that you have. People can argue about other things that Warner Brothers has. Sex and the City.
Something that I saw the other day. They're actually moving Gotham, which has been on Netflix forever, to HBO Max now.
Say that again.
They're moving the show Gotham, which has been on Netflix for years, over to HBO Max now.
Yeah. Now things like the Sandman, even the Sandman, because the decision to send that to Netflix wasn't a new regime decision; it was a previous regime. Things like that are popular that can draw. I know it could happen. I could see them producing it and then selling it to Netflix. I don't know if they would sell it to Netflix as a production like they did with Sandman, because I think they hold the IPs that make up Justice League. I think they consider them so valuable. That's why when people say, "Well, they're just going to sell DC," or maybe they'll sell DC to Amazon or Apple, they will never sell DC. All right, you would be basically defrauding your stockholders if you sold your most valuable. It would be like buying the Beatles museum or something like that, and then just when you go in there, it's just Oasis and no Beatles stuff. It's just it is the most valuable IP that you have, and they're going to hold on to it because it literally represents billions. So it could happen. I have no inside information, Jumper. I don't think it's going to happen.
Man, we've got Wonderwall here, man. Where's my Hey Jude?
Hey, you know what? At least, wow, dude, is it? I wanted to tear my eyelashes off after that one, but hey,
Dude,
you know
we're
what?
gonna
Everybody
get
sees a different movie.
you.
Listen, I got people that
You were talking about
like,
Bumblebee was good.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Independence Day 2. I got people in here. We got not a slight disagreement saying that Independence Day 2, which I thought was a wretched movie. He saw the light in that movie, and I'm like, hey, man, be happy with it,
Yeah, what I was going to say about Bumblebee is they're making, you know how you like the G1 aesthetic of Bumblebee. They're talking about making another product after Bumblebee that still has the G1 aesthetic. It's like coming. It's in production.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just the world. The world is going crazy. All right, let's go to some good news. Some news that just made the world a better place just by its existence. And let's go to the announcement that Amazon has greenlit. They are going ahead. We already knew this, but now they've made it official today with the sequel to Blade Runner 2049. That will be in a series form, which I just cannot wait for. It is going to be called Blade Runner 2099. It takes place 50 years after Blade Runner 2049. So I'm really curious to see what the story is going to be. But here we go. Blade Runner 2099 series greenlit by Amazon with Ridley Scott executive producing, which is good enough for me. I mean, I wonder who's going to be they said who the showrunner is. I am not real familiar with a lot of that person. Ridley Scott, who directed the original 1982 Blade Runner movie, is an executive producing a live action limited series follow up to the feature film sequel Blade Runner 2049, which, by the way, is a superior film to Blade Runner 1982, and I'm saying that as a card-carrying disciple, which was released in 2017 and directed by Denis Villeneuve. Silka Luisa, I hope I'm pronouncing that wrong. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Shining Girls, which I've never heard of, wrote the script and is executive producing Blade Runner 2099, which comes from Alcon Entertainment in association with Scott Free Production and Amazon Studios. Alcon Entertainment, by the way, is the original producers that produced, with Alan Ladd, produced the original Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. So they're on board. I'm on board. The project, which marks the first Blade Runner live-action series, had been in priority development at Amazon Studios. The original Blade Runner, directed by Ridley Scott, is considered one of the greatest influential science fiction movies of all time. No argument here. And we're excited to introduce Blade Runner 2099 to our global Prime Video customers, which I'm already on board. And said Vernon Sanders, head of global television, Amazon Studios. We are honored to be able to present this continuation of the Blade Runner franchise and are confident that by teaming up with Ridley, Alcon Entertainment, Scott Free Productions, and the remarkably talented Silka Luisa, Blade Runner 2099 will uphold the intellect themes, and spirit of its film predecessors. Listen, you couldn't be in better company than that. And to me, I was always worried when I heard that more Blade Runner was coming before Blade Runner 2049, because that's something I held so dear to me my entire childhood up, just like the people in Disney, just like the people who, are afraid of some of these characters taking away their childhood. It wasn't so much my childhood. It was more of I wasn't closed off to continuations. I just wanted to make sure that it was done in the spirit of, once I saw Blade Runner 2049, I was ready for anything that you want to give me Blade Runner.
So this is going to streaming then?
This is going to Amazon. They're paying a lot of money to produce it. And I'm happy about this because Amazon doesn't flinch when it comes to money. You may not always like what they produce. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm not a client there. But they don't pinch pennies. If they're going all out, this is going to be the best Blade Runner looking thing that's out there because they're going to have more money to put into it than the original Blade Runner and the and 2049 combined. We're getting a next step up. Dude, for 30 some odd years, I dreamt of a sequel to Blade Runner. I dreamt of it, wondering how it would be if it ever happened, thinking it was never going to happen. And then I got Blade Runner 2049, which is my favorite science fiction movie of all time, up there. And I've watched a lot of science fiction. All right. And I got that, and I was happy with that. I didn't know if I was ever going to see anything from that universe again. Then I got comic books that we showed last week, Titan Comics, Titan Press, which are beautiful. Then I got shorts and stuff like that from leading up to Blade Runner 2049. And now I'm getting a series with the backing of the most valuable company in America behind it. It's pocket change to them. So I know that director is going to have the full breadth and full backing of everything. I'm in heaven right now with this. We went from a franchise that I never thought I would see a sequel to this. And I'm like I said, I don't tear up. But the last couple of weeks between this and that Blood and Honey, I'm getting all misty-eyed. Oh, by the way, I have reached out. If you guys are watching this show, because I think he did, he is watching my Twitter and he is watching our Instagram. The makers of Blood and Honey, both the director and the production company that are based out of London, if you're watching, because I did send you the links to watch and everything else, you know I want you on this show. You know I am a supporter of your cause. I'm here to destroy childhoods, unlike Disney, but I'm just kidding. But no, I think that I love what you guys are doing. I hope we're able to get something together where we can get you on here to promote your movie, to talk about your movie, to talk about filmmakers in general. So the makers of Blood and Honey, check your inboxes, and I'll keep checking mine. But yeah, this is going to be great. I'm happy to see this. What do you think about Blade Runner 2099?
I loved the original. 2049 was great. Black Lotus is good.
I love
I
Black Lotus.
I'm actually looking forward to this. I didn't know it was happening until you just said something. So,
That's what I'm here for, man.
but yeah, I'm on board. I like the time jumps. I like, as long as the story stays coherent, man, I'm good with it. I
Same
think
here.
Denis Villeneuve's I think Denis Villeneuve's 2049 was amazing.
I still think it took me a while for me. I know a lot of people are gonna have difference in this, but it took me a long time to come to grips with that. May have been the greatest science fiction achievement of all time, simply because it expanded on such a revolutionary film. Most people, not a lot of people have seen Blade Runner. I mean, in comparison to a lot of other science fiction franchises. But even if you have not seen Blade Runner, you've seen Blade Runner. If you're a big fan of anime and you've seen some of the headlining stuff that's happened in the last 25, 30 years, you've seen Blade Runner. If you have seen a lot of the stuff, anything cyberpunk in the last 25, 30 years, you've seen Blade Runner. Blade Runner has influenced a lot of different things. It literally created a new form of movie making. So for 35 years to come out with something that could expand on that, and it is a superior movie to the 1982 film in every way. And that's not knocking the 1982 version of Blade Runner. I am from the church of Blade Runner. So, and for me to say that Blade Runner 2049, which you can watch on HBO Max right now, watch it over and over again, is a superior movie to most science fiction movies that have been made. And it's been Denny's best movie. I've seen The Arrival. I've seen Dune. And it's because, listen, I have no use for Dune as an IP, but you put his name on it, directing it, I will make time. I will make a use for Dune. So let's get back in the chat because I've ignored you guys. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. You know what? They said the world will be in their existence probably 100 years ago, and here we are. All right, see, Blade Runner needs way more action. Yeah, it does, and I'm here. I'm here to do it. Every person that walks into this store is they're either deluged with wrestling talk, which means their schedule is going to get all screwed up, or they're taking over to my Blade Runner stuff. I mean, I got a spinner in here. I got these giant posters in here. I got Blade Runner on VHS. I got Blade Runner on DVD. I got the full suitcase. I show them. And if they haven't seen it, it used to be when I had my screening room set up here, I would sit them down. Hey, you got a couple hours of time? Sit down and watch Blade Runner on me. You know, because I just think that seeing that movie made your lives better. So, yeah, I wish the mainstream public, and I'm hoping this Amazon show, every time you produce something new, you steer people back to what's been produced before. So I hope that with this new Amazon show that a lot of people get to see it. All right, I have Blade Runner, and Blade Runner 2049 was my favorite movie of 2017, and I'm super excited. Yes, I'm here. I'm with you. I am with you. Oh, man. Fourth, I was loving you, man, all the way up till this point now. Now I got to put you on timeout. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, you know what? Movies are subjective. He's definitely an acquired taste, though. But if I'm already predisposed to the movies he's making, then I'm already halfway there anyway. He could have really failed with Blade Runner 2049, but I thought he did great. What about the Kurt Russell spinoff of what? What are we talking about? Did I miss something? I mean, you could spin Kurt Russell off of anything because he's ageless. All right, fourth 1,000. Thank you for another super chat. Sid Mead is a real star of Blade Runner, which is why I thought virtually. Ooh, dude. Okay. Yes, Sid Mead is a star of Blade Runner. He created the visual look, and the visual look is a pillar of that movie. But it's the cinematography. It's the especially in 2049. The cinematography in 2049 is superior to the original Blade Runner, even with Sid Mead's graphics. And you know I love Sid Mead. We sat here and I've showed you the concept sketch covers of Sid Mead. Sid Mead's a hero for me. But if you look at Blade Runner 2049, most of the stuff in there is still Sid Mead's design. It's retrofitted. They didn't really add anything. It's a 35-year-older version of LA. But all those concepts, and if you look at the making of 2049, a lot of the concepts that they expanded on in 2049, they were unused concepts by Sid Mead. So if you like Sid Mead, a lot of Sid Mead is in Blade Runner 2049. It's the same city. And that's part of the appeal of Blade Runner is because they didn't change anything. They just retrofitted and added stuff to it because the society was so broken, it wasn't even worth it to make anything new again or rebuild anything. You know, everything. Tyrell, you have a billionaire that took over Tyrell's building. It's still Tyrell's building. So I mean, take a look at Blade Runner 21. I mean, if you like Sid Mead, I saw Sid Mead all over 2049, but my eyes are different, I guess, you know. All right, Chappie. Dame Fourth, that's a hot take. Yeah, you know, it is, but all right, Soldier, I've heard this. I've never seen that proven. I've heard a lot of people say that, but I never accepted it as one. So, but that's just me. All right, what do we got? Oh, let's go look at some of this Game of Thrones madness. Oh, by the way, sorry guys, I was not able to do my live show because I was at a live wrestling event. And you know, as a wrestling geek, I celebrated my birthday by going to my first New Japan wrestling show here in Vegas, and I got both my belts signed. Two of my three belts were signed by Jay White, who is a current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and I signed the two versions that he had won before. So, and I went and we just had 5 hours of wrestling because they filmed 3 shows back to back, you know, and it was great. So, by the time I got done, I was just too late. I didn't even see the new episode until 9:00. And by that time, it was too late to do a recap. But this Sunday, we will be back at it. We will be back at Square Bar here in Las Vegas, Nevada, same plaza I am in. That's 900 Karen Avenue, C101. I will have my throne, that same throne you see me in the thumbnail. I will have that throne there for people who want to come down and sit to it. We're going to do some trivia, and we're going to probably watch the previous episode, episode of incest and marriage, and the previous episode, and then we're going to watch episode 5, which, once again, like I said before, includes a wedding. And I don't think they're going to let us down with violence when it comes to this wedding. I think that like I said, somebody's going to get beat up. Somebody's going to get killed, even if it's just a no-name character. But here we go. So now what you're looking at here is you see two dragons there. That is Rhaenyra's. That is the older, her aunt. That is Corlys Valerian's wife and the queen that never was. She was the one that was passed over. And to the left of her is her son, who is Rhaenyra Valerian, who is their son. He has pure Valerian blood in him, which is why, even though he's not a Targaryen, he can fly a dragon. That is them flying into Driftmark, for the wedding and all that. So it's cool to see the two dragons in there. There's the wedding.
The big dragon that was in the previous picture is Malus. That's Rhaenys' dragon.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Rhaenyra. Not Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra. Kind of confusing.
Rhaenys.
Yeah, that's the mother. That's the older lady that you guys see. The one that says men would rather put a torch to the kingdom than let a Roman rule it. That's her. And that's her son to her left, because her son's a dragon rider. Her son was a kick-ass at the end of that one episode where he comes in and he's having so much fun frying people. That's her. That's her son. And there you see some violence. And that's the throne of Driftmark. So basically what's going to happen in this episode is King Viserys takes his court to Driftmark to offer the hand of Rhaenyra and marriage to bond houses and pure and blood and all that to basically bring him back into the fold. Here's the wedding, and here's that's the throne of Driftmark, which is basically looks like a piece of a ship and a seat behind it. That's Rhaenyra. That's the one you saw in the dragon. She's a pretty kick-ass character, by the way. Then you see the wedding feast. There's the Iron Throne behind it. It's all decorated. That looks kind of cool. And this is them either before or after their marriage day. She still looks so young here. She's 23 years old, and they've made her look so young here. And then there's Rhaenyra.
Of course, we all know the rumors about Prince Laenor.
Yeah, and I think that might be what starts the fight. But don't spoil it for anybody who hasn't.
Yeah, I won't.
And then there's Viserys and Corlys basically trying to get him back into the fold. That's her on her wedding day. There's the crown. Her hair's done up all crazy. She still looks very young. This is going to be her last episode for a while, though, unless they
Millie Aycock, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's wedding day, and then you see one of the scenes is where he falls ill, and you start getting him sicker and sicker. I am projecting that he ain't going to make it through the season. There's a piece of shit Otto Hightower. Wow.
Yeah.
There's not a
Brian
character.
asked me.
There's not a character. Is Brian there?
On Brian's show the other night, he asked me about what I thought of Otto Hightower, and I was like, he's a piece of shit, bro.
He is an absolute piece. He causes way more damage than Joffrey.
Uh-huh.
He causes way more. He ends up causing way more damage, in my opinion, than Ramsay.
He causes way more damage than Cersei. Let's just go there.
If you look at, for those of you who read through it, some of you don't want to just spoil it. I won't go any further, but trust me when I say Otto Hightower, aside from being a pimp, is causes decisions to be made and courses of action to be made that make it to where you see the Targaryen dynasty when you first see Game of Thrones, the original show. That's a lot of it is his doing, and you're going to see that in this next episode, I think. All right, so let's see. There's a very not interested Rhaenyra. I'm going to do my duty, and then there's them coming. This is them coming from the boat onto the to Driftmark.
And they finally met. They finally made Sir Strong his freaking hand, which is what I thought from the start he should have been.
Yeah, and then there's a couple. I forgot who these characters are. That's still the guy with the cane from the first episode, and then that's his hand. That's his hand. Yeah, see, he's got.
That's the guy that I've always said should be the hand.
Yeah, and then there's this guy,
and that's one of his sons. That's one of his sons. He's the one with the lame foot.
Yeah, and he's very he's very spy worthy. And then there's her mounting partner from the last episode, who's not too happy to see her. Who's not too happy, can't be too happy to see her getting married off. And then there's their wedding dance, and then Corlys, he's happy. This is where things are going to start to get heated because guess what? She is still she is still his heir. So technically, any kids that she has with Valerian, with his
Are in
son
line to the throne.
is king. So that means his bloodline on the throne. So Otto Hightower, being an absolute piece of dog shit that he is, he has that. He's going to say he has that same claim, and he makes that claim at this wedding. But like I said, I won't spoil it. Oh, this is a cool scene. This is when they all walk in for the wedding.
Mhm.
All the Valyrians,
It's a sea of white hair.
yeah, white hair. And they're like, oh, how can they be black in the books if they're white? George R. Martin does not give a rat's ass. He damn asked him. He's like, that's what
Actually, his description of Corlys has him being very ruddy skinned, like being very swarthy skinned. So I mean, I don't see it being a problem with having this guy play Corlys Velaryon.
all the depictions of him were drawn by other people in the books. Were not his. Both him and Neil Gaiman don't care. And if you look at where they come from regionally, like I was telling people before, once you start going east to Westeros, you start going into areas that are people.
It almost be like the Driftmark is almost like the western coast of Africa.
Yeah,
like if you overlay it over a map of our planet, the Driftmark and all of that down there is like the western coast of Africa and those islands down there, the Azores and stuff like that. So,
and even still, even if they're closer to to Westeros, that's easy migration. You're landlocked. You just get on some horses and you're already there. And the Valyrians traveled. That's historically what they did. So there's his daughter. They've made this show's production value is so beautiful. It surpasses the original show, and I didn't think you could do that. And this is all the wedding, and that's the queen coming in, probably making an announcement to the king. This is the last time you'll see that character played by her.
Emily, I can't remember. It's Emily something.
Emily
I can't remember
Cook.
the actress. Yeah, Cook. Yeah,
and then there's Pimp Daddy doing
Pimp Daddy Hightower. Pimp Daddy Hightower.
Yeah, and then this is him saying, "You must get Aegon on the throne."
Yeah, that's him on his way out when they're banishing him from the keep.
And there's him talking.
There's her and Laenor walking on the beach, accepting that they have to marry each other because
just of duty. And then this is his wife. This is Daemon's wife.
Daemon's wife.
By the way, he made her sound like she was a dog. She's hot. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think she's long for this world though, because I don't think Daemon has a use for a wife.
Well, there's a place where you see a horse
by the way,
fall
notice
over.
Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is wearing pants. She's wearing pants because she rides that damn dragon. She's a boss. And there's the
Driftmark throne. Yeah,
that is so cool. I wish I could build that.
It's the Driftwood throne.
It's a piece of a ship. I got the piece of the ancestral ship. So yeah, we're looking good for this episode. I cannot wait to get back on I was away from Game of Thrones for a week doing the only other thing that I love doing more, and it's watching wrestling. We are not talking wrestling this week simply because we got other stuff to talk about, and I'm going to probably go into wrestling overnight. And by the way, I will be doing the overnight show from here. So I will be well lit and unblurred and everything else because I'm working really late.
There was another scene in that trailer.
I'm letting the people know where you can find us tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here tonight because we have a comic convention here in town, and whenever we have those kind of conventions, people show up all the way up till midnight. So I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be open. I'm gonna be doing our overnight show from here. All right, go ahead.
There's a scene in that trailer where you see a horse falling over on what seems to be Daemon's wife.
Yeah.
So when you say she's may not be long for this world, you're probably not wrong. Yeah, either way, Daemon ends up married to somebody else here pretty soon. So,
yeah, because it's basically he wants the niece. He set that whole thing up the last episode because he wants her. He's attracted to her, and he wants her because he figures that's going to strengthen. Even if he can't be king, if you can't be king, if your kids are king, if the royal line runs through your child, that's power. That's why Carlos Valerian wants it. That's why everybody wants it. If you can't be the king, but your son is the king, that is your legacy. You raised the king.
But you know who I'm officially talking about? He ends up officially married to, besides her.
We don't want to say that. Yeah, we don't want to say that out loud right now.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of you guys who haven't read the books. This is fine. I'll wait. So I think, did we cover everything?
We didn't talk about Batman Day, or at least not while I
Batman
was
Day. Here
here.
we go. Batman Day. Thank you for reminding me. I knew there was a
Yeah.
reason to flip you around. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's share the screen for Batman Day. Batman Day originally was in July of 2015. That's just when they came up with it, because that's when, if you look at, I think it was the cover date for the original Detective 27 was May 39. I don't know why but that's just the day that they chose. So, all right, Batman Day is tomorrow, September 22nd, 2022. Batman Day is a global celebration. This is from National Day. Picture the most timeless superhero ever. We're sure you're picturing Batman, and that Batman only, of course. We're all aware of this epic look, the classic partner Robin and his ever popular Batmobile. Because this year, the third Saturday in September, which falls on September 17th this year, we celebrate Batman and the age of storytelling of his life through comic books, movies, citizens of Gotham, and the world honor Batman's legacy on this fun-filled day that celebrates the pop culture icon. This day is celebrated across the globe due to Batman's popularity in TV, film, and comics. For 80 years, Batman has gained much popularity as a character who reflects justice for fans all over the world. This Batman Day, let's celebrate by practicing our own superhero qualities within. When is Batman 2022? It is tomorrow. Third Saturday. Wow, we're already 3 weekends in the. Jeez. History of Batman Day.
September feels like it just started, and now it's almost over.
Jeez. Batman's success over the years makes him a household name, but this day is actually celebrated to commemorate his first appearance ever in Detective Comics back in 1939. The day was originally in June. Is the first year that it was moved. The day was originally in June in its first year, but it's moved around a few times. The first Batman Day was officially in July 23rd, 2014. That makes sure it coincided with Comic-Con International. Okay, that's why they did that. And San Diego that year. At Comic-Con, Batman's 75-year anniversary was celebrated through Batman merchandise sales, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is just basically telling you the history of it. I am, if you're in Vegas, I'm going to have huge sales tomorrow for anything. We have a Batman section, so I put out emails and stuff on it, so we'll probably have some Batman playing on one of our TVs. We'll have Batman merchandise 30% off, so that includes pins, buttons, T-shirts, action figures, pop figures, toys, comic books, graphic novels. For me, the quintessential Batman is always going to be Frank Miller's The Dark Knight. We've even done a Sci-Fi Center presents to it. And in the movies, my favorite Batman movie, believe it or not, is the new one, The Batman. Robert Pattinson is not my favorite Batman, but that is my favorite overall Batman movie, solo Batman movie. Ben Affleck remains my favorite actor to play the Batman, and I love his portrayal of it. But the overall movie, from cinematography all the way down to supporting cast, The Batman is the best Batman movie in my opinion. What's yours?
Mine is The Dark Knight. But then again, I've always been a Joker fan, so.
Yeah, I am a fan of Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight. I am not a fan of the overall movie, so it's just kind of like
It's probably to be honest, it's probably the same for me. His performance as the Joker was phenomenal. My only problem with the newest Batman movie is I just couldn't I've seen it twice, but it's drawn out, and for some reason here lately I'm having problems with slow burns.
There's just not enough time to get through all this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. All right, 4,000. I'm personally not a fan of the minimalist design of 2049, plus the digital cinematography made it. Hey, that cinematography won Deacon's first Academy Award in 14 films, so I love it. The minimalist design, to me, and I expect to see that same design in 2099. Because when you look at it, it's supposed to be the height of the society, which what you saw in 1982's version, and that is slowly, as hope decays, as the blackouts happen, everything is decaying to the point where it is just they no longer have any imagination. They've lost their will to go through light. That's what I saw into it, at least.
It's like the difference between the Star Wars prequels and the original movies. like you have, the great flashiness of the Republic in the prequels, and then you have the minimalist stuff behind the original trilogy because everything is slowly collapsing and falling apart.
And when I feel in Blade Runner, it's not just a physical collapse; it's a spiritual collapse.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a we've just given up. We have to get up.
Humanity has given up.
Yeah, and you see it in Kay's character. Kay's character is just going through the motion. I think Officer K, which is Ryan Gosling's character, is the most
Yeah,
human element of the entire story, even though he's the replicant. And
yeah.
because all he's trying to do is look for the simple things in life, companionship. He's just trying to get through his day, just like anybody doing a job. It's just his job sucks, and what his
Well,
job is.
that's the thing about cyberpunk. Anything that's cyberpunk oriented, it's always like basically the soul of everything is lessened. Like everybody's just going through the motions, because the world is so dreary. It's so downtrodden, and that's part of the appeal of cyberpunk is a lot of people like that kind of apathetic, downward, just doing what you got to do to survive kind of thing.
Okay, what are we talking about here? William and Thade. And remember when? Oh, okay, we're talking about ET. All right.
Yeah, ET was supposed to get a much darker sequel originally. It never got greenlit, but it was supposed to get a darker sequel where it was going to come back with the kids, but they were going to be captured or at least tortured in some way by another race of aliens until ET comes back. Yeah, it was going to be
I don't know if
really
that was
dark.
going over too well.
It was going to be
like
really dark.
That's almost like the sex thing, and that never made it to. Is probably
Initially though, the movie E.T. was supposed to be a horror movie. But they basically what happened with ET is they didn't want it to. They wanted it to be a family film. So the compromise was they would make ET, but then he would also make Poltergeist, and he got to be dark with Poltergeist, but had to make the family film with ET.
Yes, Fourth. I thought you were already on it, Fourth. All right, yeah, you're gonna enjoy it. It's the best show on TV right now.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting how the productions of Poltergeist and ET actually mixed.
Yeah.
Because of the initial concept.
As far as I can understand, William, does Blade Runner share continuity with Ridley Scott As far as I understand, no. There's nothing.
There's some hints. There's some hints and nods, but kind of and kind of not. Like they mention the Tyrell Corporation in Alien, and they mention how Wayland, the guy who made David, worked for Tyrell. And they also mention, but it's like Easter egg nods to Ridley Scott stuff.
Yeah, it may.
As for a direct,
no actual continuity, as far as I understand. But people are still arguing maybe to this day that whether he's a replicant or not, but he is. But no, as far as I know, Mighty Max, no, I have not. I have not seen any. In my opinion, I've watched those movies over and over again. There are nods there, but direct connection, canonical, I have not seen any proven. I've never heard it from Ridley or James Cameron or anybody else who's had their hands on those IPs.
It's basically, like I said, it's basically nods. That's really all it is.
Yeah. Cyberpunk for me, like I said, I knew I was in love with Blade Runner before I knew what Cyberpunk was. I think before Cyberpunk even had a name, so I'm a big fan of it. So
yeah, Blade Runner was one of the first initiators of the cyberpunk genre. My first. Besides Blade Runner, my first exposure to cyberpunk as a thing was there was an old tabletop RPG game called Cyberpunk in the late 80s, early 90s, and I loved playing that game.
Cool. Let me see. All right. I think, yeah, all right. So we got Batman there. We covered everything. So that was supposed to be a short show. But there you go, another hour and a half. So all right, join us tomorrow night, 9:30 Pacific time, where we will do the Sci-Fi Center overnight. We'll have some basic topics that I'll put in the thumbnail. But for the most part, that show is generated by what you guys bring to the table. So I'll just throw some stuff out there to get us going. But, it'll be probably 2 or 3 hour show, and we'll just talk about what you guys want to talk about. We can expand on some of the things that we started here. If we might even do a call-in. I might even bring in a guest from the chat room depending on how I feel. But that's about it. And then join us again on Sunday night, roughly approximately around 7:15, just after episode 5 ends. If they don't want me to do trivia before or after, I don't know if that's going to happen. But if we do the episode like we've done and we do trivia before, I'll be online. You might see me sitting there for a little bit, depending on because a lot of people get mad when we turn off the previews for the next episode so I can start the show. But I had to start the show within 7 minutes of it starting, or we lose our connections with Facebook and YouTube and all that. So that's why sometimes you see me sitting there and I'm on mute, because I have to start the show at a certain time, even though I can't have the volume up, because they're giving a preview for the next show, and the little algorithms will catch us and shut us down. So, all right, guys, Thank you for coming. Thanks, Dave, for being here, and I will see you guys for sure tomorrow night, 9:30 Pacific time. Who's in the chat? Okay, that was you. And that's about it, man. Say bye, Thade.
Later, guys. Take it easy, chat. Be safe.
All right.